Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my friends, whenever you are watching this video. Welcome back to another math time with me, Miss X. I am super excited to have you all here again. Let's begin by taking a look at our objective. Remember, our objective is always broken up into three separate parts so we know exactly how we're going to do something, what it is that we're needing to understand, and lastly, why we're doing it or why it's important. So read with me or in your head as I read out loud to you. I can use units of tens and hundreds to represent 10 more, 10 less, 100 more, 100 less in arrowway and on a blank place value chart in order to track the changes between each place value column. For example, adding a 10 and noticing if the hundreds change.
All right, friends and families, welcome to the first part of the teacher model. You'll notice that we have a blank place value chart. We're going to use our place value disk to show 157 on our place value chart here. Let's go ahead and begin. 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, 156, 157. Now, show me 10 more. We're going to do that in blue. Great. Using a sentence frame, let's describe adding 10 to 157. And go ahead and write it with me. 10 more than 157 is 167. 167 is 10 more than 157. What did we do to change 157? We added 10 to the tens place, or we added 1 10 to 5 tens. Now, let's write an addition sentence starting with 157. 157 plus 10 equals 167. Starting with 167 now, we're going to write another addition number sentence. 167 equals 10 plus 157, or 167 using associative property. 167 is equal to 157 plus 10. Just like that. Now bringing it back to 157, I'm going to show 10 less. Now, using a sentence frame, let's describe taking away 10 from 157. 10 less than 157 is 147. 147 is 10 less than 157. What did we do to change 157? We took 10 from the tens place, or we took 110 from the 5 tens. Great. Now let's write our number sentences. 157 minus 10 equals 147. Now, writing a subtraction number sentence starting with 147. 147 equals 157 minus 10. That will be it for our subtraction number sentences because we can't take the smaller number away from the bigger number first. So, and you notice that 157 is our whole, 10 and 147 are our parts. Now we are showing 157 again. Show me 100 more than 157. Oops. Oh no, that one was really big. Let's try that again, make it a little bit more normal size. There we go. Now, let's use a sentence frame to describe adding 100 to 157. 257 is 100 more than 157. 100 more than 157 is 257. What did we do to change 157? We added another 100. We added 100 to 100. Let's be a little bit more specific than that. Where did we add the 100? Where did we add the 100? Yeah, we added it to the hundreds place. Now let's write an addition number sentence starting with 157. 157 plus, well, let's try that again. 157 plus 100. Well, let's try that again, my friends. 157 plus 100 equals 257. Now let's write more addition number sentences starting with 257. 257 equals 100 plus 157. 257 equals 157 plus 100. And you'll notice that our addends or our parts switched, and that's possible because we can use associative property in addition, and associative property only is valid and true in addition. All right, bringing it back to 157. Now we're going to show 100 less. 100 less than 157. Let's use a sentence frame to describe subtracting 100 from 157. 100 less than 157 is 57. I only have 5 tenths and 7 ones left. Great. 57 is 100 less than, well, 157. Now, writing our two subtraction number sentences. First, let's begin with 157. 157 minus 100 is 157. Now, writing the other subtraction number sentence beginning with 57, let's write it. 57 equals 157 minus 100. And that's it for our subtraction number sentences because we cannot use associative property in subtraction. That would not be possible because you cannot subtract from the part. You cannot subtract the whole from the part. And 157 is our whole amount. And remember, my friends, what did we do to change 157? We subtracted 100. And take a look now at our work after we subtracted 100. My friends, I want you to pause the video here and talk to your friend or family member using place value language. Explain to a friend or a family member what you understand about 10 more, 10 less, 100 more, and 100 less. And then we will come back and talk about it together as a team. All right, my friends, welcome back. So we already knew about 10 more and 10 less, and now 100 acts the same. 10 less or 100 less is the same as taking away 10 or 100. So 10 less is taking away 10, and 100 less is taking away 100. We have to add and subtract the same units. So the tens place changes when we add or subtract 10, and the hundreds place changes when we add or subtract 100. For the second part of our teacher model here, we're going to look at some patterns. Listen as I say this number pattern and pause when you think you have figured out the rule for my pattern. Ready? 135, 145, 155, 165, 175. What do you think our rule is? If you were thinking 10 more, you are correct. Each time we're adding an additional 10 to the tens place value. And you'll notice that in the tens, it keeps going up 1 more or 10 more. Next pattern. 282, 272, 262, 252, 242. Pause the video here and tell a friend or a family member what you think our rule is for this number pattern. If you were thinking 10 less, you are correct. Take a look at the change in the tens place. Each time we are taking 10 away, or 10, it's counting down 10 less. 282 down to 272, and you'll notice that the tens place is changing by 110 or 10. Okay, friends and families, for the next part of this teacher model, we are going to be using the arrow way to look more closely at minus 10 or 10 less, 10 more, 100 more, and 100 less. Let's go ahead and begin, starting with 542. What's 542 plus 100? Great. 100 more than 542 is 642. Let's go ahead and keep going and make a longer arrow. What about 642 minus 10? Great. It would be 632. What about 632 minus 10? Great. It would be 622. Let's keep going. Let me make my arrow here a little bit longer. What about 622 minus 100? Great. It would be 522. And then lastly, 522 minus 100. It would be 422. Great job. In the last module, we used this simplifying strategy and we called it the arrow way. A long time ago when we were working on module 4, now we're working on module 5, we used this simplifying strategy and we called it the arrow way. I want you to pause the video here and talk to a friend or family member about how this example is the same as and different from the ones we've done before where we used arrow way. And then we will talk about it together as a team. Welcome back, friends. So instead of ones and tens, this is tens and hundreds. It's just different place values. Everything else is the same. It shows that you're changing the tens or the hundreds place, and whether it's more or less. Whether it's more or less. All right, friends and families, welcome to the last part of our teacher model here. You'll notice that I am showing a number with our hide zero cards. In the first part of the teacher model, we added and subtracted 100. Now we're going to add 200s, then 300s to this number. How many do you see, or what number do you see with our hide zero cards? Great, I see 125. Let's say the number in unit form. 100, 2 10s, 5 1s. Now we're going to show this number on our place value chart with place value discs. Let's go ahead and do that. $100, $110, $120, $121, $122, $123, $124, $125. What number do you see now? I see the number 325. In unit form, that is 300 or 300s, 2 10s, and 5 1s. Let's go ahead and see how that would look on our place value chart with our place value discs. So again, we are at 125 with 100, 2 10s, and 5 1s. Now, we're going to show this change from 125 to 325. We're going to show that change with our place value discs. What should we do in order to show that change from 125 to 325? Great job. We need to add 2 more hundreds. My friends, you'll notice that now our digit for the hundreds place is going to change from 1 to 3. So that our number is now 325. Whoops. Let's go ahead and fix that tens disc. I'm thinking about adding 2 more hundreds. What will happen to the number when I add 2 more hundreds? Great. The number in the hundreds place will get bigger. So this number will get bigger by 2, and the whole number will get bigger by 200. Let's go ahead and complete that. To reflect from 3 to 5. And just like we talked about, our digit in the hundreds place changed and went up and got bigger by 2. The whole number also got bigger by 200. But the ones and the tens digits stayed the same, so that our number is 525. Now, what is 325 plus 200? Great, 525. Say it in uniform: 500s, 2 10s, and 5 1s. All right, friends and families, now if I asked you to add 3 hundreds to our number of 450 here, how could you solve that? Great. So first, we're going to go ahead and write down our number, which is 450, or 400s, 5 10s, and 0 1s. Now, if we were going to add 300s, we would solve that by counting on by 100 3 times, or skip counting by hundreds 3 times. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're at 450, 550, 650, 750. We can change the 4 to a 7 now. 5, 6, 7. You'll see that that's why 5 groups are really helpful. We're changing the 4 to 7 because 4 hundreds plus 3 hundreds is 700s. That's why we added 300 discs on the place value chart. Let's show what we just did on the place value chart using our simplifying strategies of arrow way and number bonds. First, I'm going to show you arrow way. So our number originally was 450, and then we added 300s. I can add 300s using the arrow way the same way that we did it just a little bit ago, part of the teacher model. I'm going to add 100. Let's go and change that color, make it a little bit easier to follow. I'm going to add 100 so that my digit changes in the hundreds place. Then I'm going to add another 100 so that my digit in the hundreds place changes again. I'm going to add another 100 so that my digit in the hundreds place changes again. And now we're done. And our solution is 750 because I added 100, 200, and 300. So that's a lot like skip counting by hundreds. Let's try this now with the number bond. And this was the arrow way. Alrighty. 450, and remember we added 300s or 300. What we can do is we can break apart the hundreds and the tens with a mini number bond into our tens and our hundreds. So then we can, sorry about that, my friends. We can add our hundreds, which is 400 and 300, to give us 700. Then we can add that 700 to our tens. Whoops, I got confused. To our tens, which is 50, to give us the solution of 750. And if it's helpful, my friends, you can go ahead and check mark your numbers so you know that you've worked with them. We're not going to add 450 on top of the 50, 400, and the 300 because we already worked with the number 450. We broke it up into 50 and 400.
As you get ready to move into independent practice and your exit ticket, please keep these 4 things in mind. Number 1, read the instructions carefully. I cannot tell you this enough. Please read the instructions carefully. Number 2, notice patterns. Is it 100 more, 100 less, 10 more, or 10 less? Number 3, notice which digits represents the hundreds, the tens, or the ones. And lastly, for the word problems, write a complete number sentence, a complete word sentence, box in the solution, and underline your unit. These are really important things to do when you work in a word problem. Don't forget to click in the link in the description box below. It will take you to the worksheet. Don't worry about printing it if you don't have a printer. Just write down the problems on a separate piece of paper and solve it on your own the best that you can. Good luck, my friends. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next lesson.